to listen to the Lap Traffic Podcast.
What is up, Lap Traffic Nation? Welcome to episode 291 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. I am your host, the Professor Brandon Crowd. Hope you all had a great weekend. Hope you had a couple great weekends. We took an off week last week. Hope your Labor Day was fantastic. All that good stuff. Here we are, episode 291. The countdown to 300 is now officially underway. 9 more shows, episode 300. I've got a couple things that I'm thinking about doing for episode 300. And I'll just lay it out there. I'm thinking we're going to have some listeners on the show. I'm thinking we're going to reach out to some of the people like Jeff Striegel that have been along for the ride for a long time, the Orange Cone. And we're going to wrap that into the award show and the Lucky Dog show, recap show. And we are just going to have one mega episode 300. Who knows? 300th episode. Maybe it'll go 3 hours. I don't know. What a way to end season 6, the 2022 NASCAR season. It'll be big. It will be big. And in the meantime, what I'm doing is if you guys saw, I posted last night a giveaway. I'm going to do some giveaways from now up until episode 300 to celebrate, because why not? So I'll have a winner announced here later tonight during the social media segment. So stay tuned for that, and we'll get some more giveaways going and all that good stuff without a doubt. So anyways, let's see what's been going on here this past weekend. It was busy. It was very busy. Lindsay and I, we took the trip with Alden up to Mackinac a couple weeks ago, and we kept telling people, oh, the schedule opens up for us. Things slow down when we get back from Mackinac, which was the end of August, right? And we're now pretty much booked throughout the rest of September. Couple weekends already booked into October. It's crazy. You have a kid and you're busier than you've ever been. So, which is crazy. It's good. It's fun. One thing though that I am super pumped about, just booked a trip to Philly, and this came up so last minute over Labor Day weekend. My cousin texts me and he goes, hey, The Undertaker, which you guys all know I am a diehard wrestling fan, is doing a one-man show Friday night, October 7th, I think it is, or 6th, whatever the Friday is there. And he's like, I'm going. Do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, actually, I kind of do. Long story short, we got meet and greet tickets for The Undertaker's one-man show, and we're going to the pay-per-view WWE Extreme Rules the next night. So that came up out of the blue, which will make things busy and interesting, of course. Then this past weekend, you guys have heard me talk about my buddy Zaylen. Took him out for his 40th birthday. Went and saw some friends Saturday. Was supposed to go to the Lions game and was just burnt out and just chilled on the couch and watched football all day. So I'm not complaining about that. So tons to talk about. 18 winners this season. What's that mean? I think it's pretty important and crucial, to be honest with you. And I'll get into that here in just a little bit. Hope you guys enjoyed episode 290 with Dustin Albino from jski.com. Coming up tonight, I'm excited to get our defending NASCAR Truck Series champ, Ben Rhodes, on. He made it to the next round, so we're going to catch back up with Ben Rhodes. It's been a minute since he's been on. And new on the scene, kind of, if you will, Howie DiSavino, running a part-time schedule. Tommy Joe Martin's in the Xfinity Series. He's going to make his debut a little later on as well. Got some recaps for you guys, social media, and Aaron Studwell is going to be on. And yes, we are going to talk some Michigan football because it's been very interesting these first 2 weeks for the Maize and Blue. Got your Lucky Dog lap down picks, and of course, some lap traffic fantasy to close things out. It was crazy last week. Kevin Harvick messed some things up with his wreck last week, and Kyle Busch this week. So it's been an interesting start to the lap traffic fantasy playoffs. So we'll get into all of that. Let's keep things rolling. Let's get Ben Rhodes on the line. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on the line, making his 5th appearance on the show. He has a win, 6 top 5s, 10 top 10s this season. He's made it through the next round of the Truck Series, and he is the driver of the number 99 with Thor Sport Racing and your defending Truck Series champion. Welcome back, Ben Rhodes. What's up, man? How are you?
Yeah, doing good, man. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm feeling good, even though the intensity is up.
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a quiet day in NASCAR today, between the Cup News and Truck Series and the Xfinity Series getting ready to kick things off. Man, it is a great time to be a fan of NASCAR. That is for sure.
Yeah, no, I think there's a lot of excitement right now. And, the next gen car breeds that. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of schedule changes. And, news is good. Changes are good. I've always been a fan of announcements and changes within the sport. And to see NASCAR themselves taking so much on this year, and then, Dale Jr.'s involvement, getting us back to, a legendary racetrack. I think there's a lot of good things going on.
It's all upward trending. I've talked to my listeners, obviously people on social media, and there's in my opinion, obviously you can find anything to complain about, right? Like that's the easy thing, but it's also really easy right now to see a lot of positive things within the sport, which is great. Getting to new markets, new fan bases, cross promotions between Indy and all the other motorsports out there. It's like I said, it's a fun time to be a fan and a part of the sport. 2022 has been just an incredible year that I think 5-10 years from now, we're gonna look back at 2022 as some things that maybe help shape the future history of the sport. Will be able to be traced back to this year, I feel like.
No, I think that's very well put. And I like the optimism, right? I mean, it's easy to look at negatives. It can be hard to look at positives sometimes. And it's very, I feel like the positives are numerous right now. It's easy to count. And that's a good thing.
Absolutely. I'm with you. Before we get deep into some racing talk, week 1 of football is in the books. Ben, is there any fantasy football leagues floating around at Thor Sport? What's fantasy football situation for you?
Well, none for me. I actually can honestly say I really do not participate or watch really any other sport than racing. But I can tell you that fantasy football is in full swing at Thor Sport because come lunchtime, every dude is on their phones checking everything, how it's going. I hear something about a bunch of money that's up for grabs. There's different there's all kinds of. They've got a very healthy culture going on right now, and fantasy football is right in the center of it.
Yes, oh, that's great, man. All right, the season for you. Pretty much started off where things ended for you last year. Opened the season 5 top 5s and a win through the first 6 races. The mid pack of the truck season. From a numbers perspective, looked like there was a little bit of a struggle there, but from your perspective, what was the regular season like for you and your guys?
Yeah, well, we feasted early, and then it's been famine kind of since then. I think there's a couple of races that you can look back on in the regular season, and then one in the playoffs so far that have been good for us. And the one in the playoffs was IRP. That short, flat track that is kind of similar to Phoenix in some regard. I think we did really, really well there, considering my early race penalty. I was able to come back from that and still get a second place. I think we passed more trucks than anybody else that day. And, everybody talked about how hard it is to pass at IRP, and we somehow passed, it seemed like a billion of them. So, that's one that stands out in my mind. But from there, you have to jump back a long, long way back to almost there's one in there, but I know the one that comes to my mind obviously is Bristol Dirt. Yeah. And you can kind of count that race and then kind of see our trend go down. And I don't know why that is. There's a lot of work being done behind the scenes. I can tell you meetings are being had, notes are being shared, and there's a lot of stuff going on that we're trying to pull from and get better at. But it's not from a lack of effort. It's not from a lack of people or funding or any of that. We've got all the resources. Sometimes it's just putting those puzzle pieces together. And it's funny, I was talking to my teammate, Matt Crafton, about this, and he had a really good analogy that was similar. He was talking about how, you can think that you're running the same setup as a teammate, right? Like we can share the same information, but if one or two things are different, well, you're not actually running the same setup. So we're trying to have as much openness as possible. And we've had that for years, but depending on how some people take notes and how we take notes, we're just trying to make sure that communication is 100% open. Not that it hasn't been, but we're literally doing everything we can to figure out where our speed is at as a whole. And I feel like, if you look around in the garage and you take inventory of team versus team versus team on who has the best communication, I really feel like ThorSport's right up there at the top. So it's not from a lack of effort, not from, anything we're doing wrong intentionally. We're just got to find that speed that we're missing. And that comes and goes, right? You see it flows and it ebbs and flows in the sport.
Absolutely.
One year a team is just absolutely dominating. The next year something has changed and you've got to catch up, and that's just how it goes. And right now we were kicking butt to start the year.
Wow.
Our competition got a little better, and now we're trying to find that speed. And my crew chief feels good about Bristol. I feel good about it. So fingers crossed for a good start to this round of 8.
Absolutely. Well, you mentioned Bristol. I mean, just iconic. It has to be a part of the playoffs. Without a doubt. You mentioned the spring race, Bristol. You picked up the win there on the dirt. It's a Thursday night truck playoff race. I mean, I'm jacked for that. There's so much talk around Bristol and the Bristol dirt. I mean, obviously you won there, which is automatically probably going to put it in the favorite column there. But are you a fan of running dirt Bristol, or would with all of the schedule changes and things like that, would you rather see them take that race somewhere else?
Well, I'm going to level with you and tell you that I hated dirt the moment I got on it. In the truck series, but that was Eldora, that was Knoxville. The thing that I found that was special about Bristol was just the intense banking. I think with these 3,400-pound race trucks, these really skinny tires, you have to have banking in order for us to put on a good race. And I think by all accounts, the Bristol dirt race for the truck series was a very good race. There was a lot of passing. I mean, I remember us being 3 wide in the pack, trying to make our way back through the field at times. You don't see 3 wide at Bristol very, very rarely if it's concrete, but you got 3 wide at Bristol on dirt. So I've got a second place there. I've got a win there now on dirt. I don't have very good finishes on the concrete. So, yeah, I'm a fan of Bristol dirt. They can keep it. I hated the dirt before Bristol, and I love Bristol now. And, yeah, it's a whole jumbled up bag of emotions.
That's great, man. Maybe they can go bring in some yards of dirt by Thursday night for you.
They can put dirt on all the tracks right now. That's how I feel about it.
Oh, that's great. You mentioned Matt Crafton, obviously a veteran in the sport. Johnny Sauter. Eventually these guys are gonna have to hang it up at some point in time. I would see. It's great to see someone like yourself that's been around, that's been with Thor as long as you have. Do you feel any added responsibility yourself for you guys like Grant Amfinger that have been around the truck series as long as you have, as kind of that new veteran that these younger guys can look up to as they're making their way throughout the sport?
I kind of have a hard time putting myself in that category because it's gone by so fast. It sneaks up on you, that's for sure. And I don't feel any real responsibility or I don't know, like obligation, I guess, to go out and try to help the young guys. And maybe that sounds bad, right? But here's why. I just try to focus on my own team and my own deal. And if people want to come around, if these drivers want to come around and ask and have questions, I'm more than happy to help. Sure. Like, for example, I do the rookie meeting pretty much every week with NASCAR. So, I give whatever feedback that I can, any information that I can. Hardly ever does anybody have a question. Actually, never have they had a question this year. So if the rookies have questions, they can come bring them to me, and I'll gladly answer. But, so I guess I haven't felt an obligation just because nobody's really said anything, and I don't feel a reason for me to go out of my way and lose my focus to try to help somebody who doesn't want the advice or the help to begin with, I suppose. No,
I'm with you. I'm with you there. I get this is kind of a cliche question, so I apologize about that. But, from a playoff perspective, you made it to the next round. Just knowing that Talladega is in this round, is that any added extra pressure, any added extra, oomph behind going and trying to get the win this weekend at Bristol so that you don't have to worry about the Talladega Superspeedway?
No, I like it. I like it, actually. I like the adversity that it can bring. I might be eating my words here, but I feel like it's a good addition to the playoffs. And some people will say, oh, well, that's not really fair. Luck plays such a role at Talladega. You may not be able to see the true outcome of who's champion or not. Well, I don't know if I believe in all that. You go to Bristol, and I think Bristol is going to be the most important race of the year, simply because you have to set yourself up in a good points position or a win by the time you leave Bristol. And if you do that and you have a decent race at Talladega, you should be able to go to Homestead and just be fine.
Sure.
You can point your way in at that point.
Yep.
Or if you win, more power to you. But I like the adversity, the challenge that Talladega brings. It doesn't get me, mentally taxed in any way. It doesn't upset me at all. Actually, I feel more relaxed because it's in the playoffs.
Sure.
I just find it, so there's something soothing about it. Even though that I've had a lot of bad races and some of my worst wrecks in my career at Talladega, there's just something soothing to me knowing that everybody has the exact same challenge ahead of them, and you don't have to rely 100% on just pure raw speed. You can go there, and luck plays a factor in it, but you can also be really, really smart and outsmart your competition if you're careful about it.
Ah, man, what a great response. I love that. I'm torn. I go back and forth. Obviously super speedways, it's part of our sport. It's represented in the regular season. So I get the argument that it should be represented in the playoffs as well. And yeah, I mean, that's a great perspective for everyone out there. I love the way you phrase that, man. Who do you got on the truck this week, man?
We got Ohio Logistics. We just announced them today. They're an Ohio-based company, obviously, with their name. And to us, it just seemed like a natural fit, right? Like they were getting into the sport. And, well, who would you go with? Well, obviously the Ohio-based team.
Sure, absolutely.
It's definitely a natural fit. And, for them to come on in the playoffs, I think is rather special, especially for Bristol, which I just mentioned, I think is the most important race of the year. So they've got a lot of excitement to look forward to this Thursday night. I can tell you, I'm not nervous, but I'm anxious. And I think the excitement that I feel and my whole team feels, hopefully they can kind of, latch onto that a little bit and immediately feel like they're part of a team. Like that emotion can really run over sometimes. And when you're new and you're on board with the team, I know how that can be. Sometimes you feel like maybe you're just getting situated, but when there's a lot of emotion involved, it feels like it can be a lot quicker progress just to become one of the guys, just to become one and the same. And
sure.
Hopefully that emotion can show through on the TV, and all their associates and partners and employees can feel the excitement as well, because I know this is going to be a really big deal for them as it is for us.
That's cool, man. I love the hands-on feel, the connection that you feel back to your sponsors. That's so cool, man. Where can everybody follow you on social media, Ben?
Yeah. So, well, number one, my website, benrhodes.com, Ben Rhodes on Twitter, Ben Rhodes on Facebook, the same on Instagram. Just don't get really angry at the Ben Rhodes politics guy and start tagging me. That happens all day long. So if you got complaints for him, tag the other Ben Rhodes.
That's great. I love it. Lab Traffic Nation, huge thanks to Ben Rhodes for coming back on the show. Ben, it was great to catch up with you. Best of luck this week, the rest of the playoffs, and definitely rooting for you defending that championship, man.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Talk to you soon, man.
Yep.
See ya. Oh, Lab Traffic Nation, great to catch back up with Ben Rhodes, and let's keep things going here. All right, let's do just a couple quick recaps here from this past weekend at Kansas. John Hunter Nemechek going out there and doing what I expected him to do most of the season, which is just dominate. I mean, just flat out put out a clinic. Granted, it looks really good on paper because he swept both stages and picked up the win. But that was with a last lap pass, which was pretty cool to see. I'm surprised that this was just John Hunter's second win of the season, but hey, came at the right time in the playoffs, got him through to the next round, no question. Great showing out of Ryan Priest, great showing out of Zane Smith, Grant Enfinger. Pretty solid run by all of our playoff drivers, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, Carson Hocevar, Matt Crafton didn't make the cut. Crafton struggling a lot as of late. I mean, really since his championship back in 2019, it's been a struggle to get things going there. Curious to see how much longer. I mean, he's just been such a veteran and an integral part of the truck series for so many years. Curious what he does when he finally does decide to hang it up. Is he going to, go to the broadcast side of things? Is he going to go to the team side of things? Or is he just going to be like, hey, you know what? I've been doing this for, it's got to at least be 20 years, right? And just go hang it up, relax with family. I'm hate to see someone like that go because, like I said, he's just been such a crucial part of the truck series, and maybe guys like Ben Rhodes, Grant Enfinger, are they going to be our just diehard truck series guys? Are they going to be the new Johnny Sauter, Matt Crafton, so to speak? That's going to be fun to watch develop who our next group of guys like that are. I know I'm looking forward to it. That's for sure. Noah Gragson, over in the Xfinity Series, picking up win at 5 on the season, which is cool. Justin Allgaier doing his thing, just being consistent. Justin Allgaier, what's he got here? How many wins does he have this season? He's got 3 wins, and he just kind of sneaks them in. Like out of the blue, all of a sudden, Justin Allgaier. Well, of course Justin Allgaier picked up a win, but he just kind of slides in there. He takes advantage. I think Justin Allgaier is one of the best in the Xfinity Series, taking advantage of other people's mistakes, keeping it clean, and just always being in position to possibly go out there and get one. Don't get me wrong. He'll have his moments where he's just dominating, but for the most part, he lingers around there, top 10, top 5, and then just boom. Kind of like Kevin Harvick back when he was quote unquote the closer, if you will. It's just like boom, all of a sudden there he is. Justin Allgaier with a P2 there. Ty Gibbs doing good things. Dinger's up there. So it is going to be very interesting to see here how things shape up this Friday night when these guys go to Bristol. Oh, and speaking of Bristol, the truck race. We got a truck race Thursday night. I love midweek truck races at night, so I'm very pumped for that one. And then, of course, we've got the Xfinity race Friday night. And don't forget, Jeremy Clements picking up the win a couple weeks ago. He's outside the top 12. So right now, we've got a battle between Ryan Sieg, Landon Castle, as we head into the last race of the regular season for the Xfinity Series at Bristol. I love, I mentioned this a couple weeks ago with the Cup guys and the Daytona being the last race of the regular season for the Cup side of things. It just makes sense. Well, how much more sense? If you had to pick the next best track to maybe end the regular season, it's Bristol. So I love the fact that the Xfinity Series is ending their regular season at Bristol. Is someone else going to maybe play spoiler? I could see Brandon Brown, Sheldon Creed going out there, who are outside looking in right now, picking up a win. So there is definitely a battle. Daniel Hemrick, I think, is pretty much safe to get into the playoffs. What's he going to do, our defending champ, once he gets there? We'll have to find out. But Ryan Sieg, Landon Castle are going to have a battle each other there to see who is going to get that last playoff spot, which is cool. I am excited that we finally have a playoff battle to talk about because I feel like we've missed that in the Xfinity Series. So for me, I'm pumped. I can't wait to see how the Xfinity Series regular season comes to a close Friday night at Bristol. And then, oh my God, the Cup. What a week. You got Kevin Harvick earlier this week going out there on Twitter, just kind of stirring the pot a little bit, which I absolutely loved. Just going out there doing Kevin Harvick things. We haven't seen that side of Kevin Harvick in a minute, which I loved. You had Kyle Busch trolling Adam Stern when Adam Stern comes out on Twitter and says, it's basically a done deal. Kyle Busch, RCR. And Kyle goes and responds like, of course he would. Like, what other driver would do that but Kyle Busch, which I love. I think that's fantastic that he goes out there and trolled him in that fashion, I like what Adam Stern does. He is a very reliable source. He definitely has some people leaking stuff to him. There's no doubt about that, whether this is true or not, but just in general, Adam normally comes out with very accurate information. But I just love that Kyle went and trolled him. And then, now you've got Kevin Harvick in a must-win situation. As far as I am concerned, he's in 16th place. He's got... It's impossible basically to point his way in. He's got to go out there and win. Now, he can win at Bristol. He has won at Bristol. And it's just a bummer because it looked like that team was heating up. They had a good run going at Kansas. They had a good run going at Darlington. And hey, it's racing, right? Situations beyond some of driver and team control there coming into play. But after coming off back-to-back wins, something we didn't think we were going to see out of the 4-car this season, I didn't expect them to necessarily go win a championship. But I definitely expected them to get past the round of 12 for sure. But curious to see what all goes on there and all of that. And I'm obviously doing this on Monday here, parts of the show. So I'll bring up what Kyle Busch says later on in the show. But if it is RCR, I'm kind of stunned in that I would think Kyle Busch wants to go win and win now. And RCR is not competing week in, week out. Kyle Busch is on the tail end of his career. So I'm wondering what's going to make it lucrative for him to go to an RCR type place. And maybe it's all sponsorship. Maybe it's, hey, he's going to go chase down the sponsors. I have no idea. Very curious on that side of things. And then lastly, I just want to touch on Bubba's win. Bubba obviously catches a lot of heat on social media and from the fans. It's a love-hate relationship there, no doubt. And so for me, Bubba has the win last year, Talladega, right? When you win, if your first win or if it's your only win, it's obviously your first win. Is that a plate race? Okay, great. You've got your win, but when are you going to go win on the intermediate, so to speak? Because that's what most of our seasons is composed of. And anybody can go out there, quote unquote, and win at Talladega or win at Daytona, right place, right time kind of thing. So for Bubba Wallace to go out during the playoffs and to pick up that win, that to me, that's a big statement from that team. Just absolutely a huge. I don't know what else to say other than a statement. To go out there and do that up front all day. 5th stage 1, 4th stage 2, and the win. And they went out there and got it done, which is very, very impressive. And to me, I think that's all right. They're the deal. They're the real deal now. Now can they keep it up? So incredible. 18 winners, 3 new winners for 2022, the last 3 races. To me, that's incredible. If that can stay the course for years into the future, we've got a lot to look forward to as a fan base. Now, as teams get to learn this new car, obviously that will set some things up. Maybe we'll get a few more 4 or 5 race winners here and there. But 18 winners, man, this was something. This was a special season here, regardless of what happens the rest of the way these last 7 or 8 races. This is a very special season, one that will go down in the history books, no doubt. So, all right. I think that was long-winded enough. Let's move on, shall we? All right, let's do a little Lap Traffic social media. Everybody, make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, Facebook, The Lap Traffic Podcast, TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. If you've made it this far into the show, leave a review. Tell your friends they can listen on their favorite podcast hosting site. Make sure you're checking out at Atlanta Racing and at the Throwback brand. There may be some hats coming out. That's all I'm saying as part of the giveaways as we get closer to episode 300. And right now, I've got the winner of the Lap Traffic prize pack, which included a Lap Traffic t-shirt, travel mug, koozies, and some NASCAR contingency stickers, which are awesome. I love throwing stickers on the garage, fridge, all that good stuff. So congratulations to between underscore, wait, hold on. Let me see. What is this here? BTWN _the _Devils, guessing a Devils fan as well as a Chase Elliott fan from Philly, PA. I'll be in Philly in a couple weeks. Very cool. So shoot me a DM with your address and all that good stuff, and I will get this prize pack out to you. We got some new followers to shout out. Jimmy at Diane Bubba 09, dirt racing late model fan from North Carolina. Chase Car 07 at Mean Bean 969, Chase Elliott fan. Shane Kirk at Daddy of Two Kiddos, NASCAR fan from Kentucky. Mark Matthews at Mark MXC, big NASCAR fan. Welcome to the show, everyone. Tell your friends to check it out. And don't forget, I got free stickers and koozies. All you have to do is fill out the contact page on the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com, and I will get those out to you for free. All right, let's see here. Well, normally, this is where Aaron Studwell would be coming on, but he will be here in a little bit. First, we're going to welcome newcomer to the show, Howie DiSavino. Let's talk to Howie and get his 411. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, joining me on his line, making his debut on the show. He is the driver of the 44 with Alpha Prime with Tommy Joe Martins. He was on the track this past weekend at Kansas. Welcome to the show, Howie DiSavino. Howie, what's up, man? How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. Thanks for coming on and making your debut. Hopefully this is the first of many appearances on the show. Listen, man, you've got an interesting start in racing. It was a unique background for you, not your traditional entrance into the sport. You've got a family farming background, all that. Tell the listeners a little bit about, your background outside of racing.
Yeah, for sure. When I was 4 years old, we moved on to a 90-acre farm. And just with that being said, there was a lot of cold winters that we were out there feeding the animals and trying to grow crops and during the summer. So a lot of my time was taken up by, driving vehicles around the farm. And that's what really sparked my interest into getting into the racing world. But yeah, just with that being said, I drove anything with 4 wheels, 2 wheels. If I could drive anything with no wheels, I would do it. So, that's just the way that I grew up.
What, was farming in is that part of the family genes there? Because not too many people are buying 90-acre farms and running crops and all that kind of stuff. So is that part of the family genealogy there, if you will?
Not at all, actually. My mom just wanted to start a farm while she was raising us kids. So that's what we did, and awesome. We helped out.
That's very cool. Your first race was at Richmond, 13 years old. Basically, you went from going to your first race 7 years later in the Xfinity Series. Talk about, what sparked the first race car that you got or strapping in through, racing on Saturday at Kansas.
Yeah, so, when I went to Richmond Raceway, they had these small cars, arena racing, which is unfortunately not a thing anymore. And I've heard about it before, and we went and watched a few races and whatnot. Next thing you know, we bought our own car, and we started racing in the arena racing. Then we moved straight from that to Southside Speedway into late models. So it was kind of a fast-paced it's been fast-paced my whole career, especially starting at such a late age at 13 years old. You have to prove yourself, and you have to go quicker than what most kids can. They can stay in go-karts for a little while and then move up. Unfortunately, I didn't have that time if I wanted to make it to NASCAR.
So was it you and your dad working on the car? Like what, how were you able to find sponsors and all that, as, kind of having a late start, if you will?
Yeah, so my pops and I, we did work on the car. We didn't really know what we were doing, but we just did the best that we could.
Sure.
And then the next year, we wanted to be even more competitive. So we got someone else to set up our car for us, and we were learning along the way. It's kind of been that whole way my whole career, moving from arena cars to late models. We don't really know anything about it. So we had to lean on other people's knowledge to help us out. So just with that, we were able to get sponsorships in my first few years and whatnot, but we didn't
That's
really
awesome.
work. Oh yeah, for sure.
How you running part-time with Tommy Joe? How'd you guys get hooked up?
Through Austin Terrio. So Austin Terrio, I met him about 3 years ago at Myrtle Beach Speedway, and ever since that day, he became my manager. So he manages my whole career. He hooked me up with Jordan Anderson Racing for the Truck Series, Wintron with ARCA, and now Tommy Joe Martin's in Alpha Power Racing with Xfinity.
That's so cool, man. Tommy, he's been a veteran in the sport, both driver, owner. I know he does a lot with BJ and all of that. They really put together a kind of, I don't want to say like a Venturini type thing in the ARCA series, because I think their strategy is a little bit different, but they really give guys like you that opportunity to go out there and get your names out there, which is awesome.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with the cars that we're in. I mean, we are in fast cars, and unfortunately, some weekends like this past weekend, we don't have the results that we wanted. But we do have fast cars.
Absolutely. Well, and you mentioned Jordan Anderson. I mean, he's kind of the same way now. He was always just that single car team by himself out there, and he's now starting to expand out with different people in the seat, which was awesome. You ran I think 5 races with him last year. How cool was that to be able to go out there, your first truck race at Richmond?
Yeah, that was a pretty neat experience. Being able to say that when I was 8 years old, through however old, to be going there and then finally race there myself for my first NASCAR race.
That's so cool, man. And Richmond's a great track.
And unfortunately, a lot of bad stuff happened, like radio communications, and then for the last 50 laps, the power steering went out. But we still finished the race, and we couldn't be prouder of that result right there.
Absolutely. So this past weekend, Kansas, obviously rain-shortened race, probably threw a damper and things for you a little bit, but I think this was your third start this year in the Xfinity Series. It's hard, right? To intermittent things. It's hard to get in a groove, hard to get in a pattern. What was your race prep like going into this, and how was the weekend for you?
Yeah, the race prep's pretty simple and easy. I train every single day with Fit Stop Performance with Hunter Smith. So I train with him every single day. And on top of that, I have a bunch of meetings with what we got to get done with my driving coach, with driver Fine, Joey Coulter. Austin Terrio, I lean a lot on him. Tommy Joe Martins, and I do a lot of iRacing. Leading up to the race, I've never been to a mile and a half in an Xfinity car. So the first few laps was a little sketchy just because I really have never been that fast in an Xfinity car. Plus they're really heavy, and you just don't expect much of it, right? I'm a short track driver, so that's what I'm used to. And, so from practice to qualifying, they said, hey, we got to pick up a second if we want to make the show. I said, all right. So I just sailed it off in the corner, and we've qualified 25th. And, as the race started, we were super tight in stage 1. We could not get anything done in stage 1. We came in for a pit stop. We loosened the car up, and that was the magic right there. We started passing cars and getting up towards the 20th position, and then strategy came out as the rain was coming to where some guys pitted and they were able to get around us. And with 4 laps to go, we put 4 tires on, so we really couldn't do too much. So unfortunately, we finished P28, but we were running probably 20th lap times. So kind of an unfortunate day for us, but it was a good points day for the 44. So just couldn't be happier to be able to say that I ran a mile and a half.
Absolutely, it's seat time. All of that is just so critical and being out there showing what you can do, and to be able to keep it clean and do that. I mean, that alone is such an impressive feat for, in my opinion, for someone getting out there and getting started in, the upper echelon, if you will, from the NASCAR series perspective. What's next? Will we see you back out on the track at all in 2022?
Yes, you will. I'll be at Talladega and also Martinsville again. So the two stellar races, and we can win. So at Talladega. So that's one deal that I'm super excited about. We just got to stay out of all the mess that everyone else wants to make. So super excited about it, and just looking forward to figuring out what we're going to do next year.
That's awesome. Well, you mentioned Martinsville. That's where you made your Xfinity debut at earlier this year. Started 22nd. So, I mean, like you said, you're a short track guy. To go out there and get a 22nd starts position, that's awesome. You had a drive shaft issue there that resulted in a 36th place finish. So I'm guessing Martinsville's been circled for you on the calendar since early spring here.
Yeah, ever since we left at that place, I've been ready to go back. So
I bet.
I'm ready.
I bet. All right. So you mentioned next year. I know trying to get some more Xfinity races. Obviously, the goal getting into the Cup Series. Can you shed some light on what potential rides and what things are going to look like for you next year?
Yeah, the biggest deal that we're fighting with right now is funding. I'm not one of those guys that has grandpa's money or
Sure.
dad's money.
I hear you.
So I have to find all that by myself. So it's kind of hard to run my own business, and also on top of that, you try to be successful as a race car driver as well, right? So I would have to say, I'll be able to answer that question when we have funding, and when we're able to fully say, we're doing a full season in Xfinity, or we're gonna do a half season and a few Cup starts. Either option is great. I'm not opposed to jumping back down to the Truck Series. As long as we're in the NASCAR series, that's all that matters to me.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, hell, we've seen. Look at John Hunter in the Cup and drops down to the Truck Series and wins, competing for championship, and we'll probably see him in an even more competitive car down the road there. So hey, like you said, whatever keeps you in the seat, on the TV, at the track Friday, Saturday, or Sunday night is awesome, man. That's great. Looking forward to keeping an eye on you and your career as things progress for you. Where can everybody keep up with you on social media?
Pretty much all my social media handles are the exact same. It's just Howie DiSavino. So Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok, you can find me on there.
Oh, TikTok. So I just broke into the TikTok side of things. That's a whole different world than Twitter, man. I can send a tweet all day long, but now I'm trying to get creative on the video side of things. That's definitely different world there, man.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, listen, man, thanks for hopping on. Thanks for coming on the show. Appreciate you. Look forward to talking with you again. Best of luck at Martinsville and Talladega, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Alrighty. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thanks, man. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
All right, Lap Traffic Nation. There you have Howie DiSavino. Great to have him on the show for his first appearance. Okay. Now, back to our regularly scheduled program. Let's get Aaron Studwell back on. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, hail to the victors, valiant hail. Yes, Michigan with a very, very hard-earned win this past weekend. And here to talk about that and NASCAR, Kyle Busch, weather, is Mr. Aaron Studwell. Sir, good evening. How are you? Hail.
To the victors valiant. Good evening, sir. I'm doing well, and yourself?
I am good because I did not take the spread for the game and only took it for the quarter and the first half because I knew better.
Yes. Yeah. I will say, and I can't remember the kid's name, the third string quarterback actually looked pretty good too.
He did. I made 5 bets on the Michigan game, and I won 4 out of 5.
So the bet on time start was your losing bet?
Right? No, the bet I lost, and I knew this one was going to, it was going to be close. Because just like, they rotated everybody in. So it needed to happen in the first half. It almost did. I took Blake Corum's rushing yards over 112, and he got to 88. Because I knew, once they opened that thing up, they weren't going to use him that much. They didn't.
Right.
I was hoping he was going to maybe break, 230, 45 yarders in the first half with then, some 10s and 12s mixed in there. It almost hit, but that's all right. We did well the rest of the day. So
yeah, you can live with that.
Yes, I'll take it. So far, if we just a quick recap based on our picks for Michigan, everything's obviously gone as predicted thus far. And not to put the cart before the horse, but some of the, challenge games, if you will, that are coming up on the schedule don't look maybe as challenging at the moment. But,
I would agree with that.
We'll see what happens when we get there.
Yeah, that was, we didn't have a chance to talk about it. The Iowa game or the Iowa matchup is going to be the one that may underwhelm compared to where we thought maybe last month.
Sure. Yeah. Nope. That's
and,
what I was talking. That was what I was indirectly.
That's the one you circled on. Yeah, that's the one you circled on the calendar.
Yeah.
I was watching the Michigan game, and then it's like, oh yeah, it's 3-3 Iowa, South Dakota State. Like, oh, okay, slow start. And I see the final 7-3. I'm like, wait a minute. I know it was 3-3 earlier. You go look at this box score. 2 safeties in the second half.
Yeah.
I'm like, so at one point, ending the third quarter, it was 5-3.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh.
Really, guys? Come on.
Yeah.
Against an FCS team.
That is that's rough. That is rough. Alabama, they snuck past one through.
Yep.
Notre Dame is Notre Dame.
We specifically called them out earlier. To say they're overrated.
Yes. Yep.
And
there was one other thing I was going to bring up. Oh, MSU. They're, questionable. They're questionable.
Yeah.
They're questionable.
Yeah. So
it's
Michigan's going to continue to roll on with 40, looking at right now, 47.5-point favorites over UConn.
Yep.
Over under is 59.5. I might consider that one.
I am going to make the exact same 4 bets this weekend that I placed last weekend.
You're staying away from Blake Corum this time, huh?
Yes, which was I took first quarter over, first quarter spread, first half spread, and first half over. And those did pretty well. Now, and of course, I'll do, like when you're at a blackjack table, when you get on a streak, you're supposed to up your bet every 2 to 3 wins or whatever that is. So my luck is now I'll double up on all the same bets and I'll get screwed. But nonetheless, we'll have a good time watching UConn. So
yes.
Go
Huskies.
We were actually driving back for some friends that actually live over by MIS. And we were coming home, and I go to Lindsay. I go, I'm gonna turn the game on. Turn it on. Oh, I go to turn it on, and they go weather delay. And I'm like, oh, sweet, that'll work. And they said lightning strike.
Until you drove
area.
Into the rain.
Well, yeah, we drove into the rain, and all I could think about is you and Newdorf talking about lightning holds, and then I hear kickoff scheduled for 9:00. We pulled in the driveway 9:05, so it was perfect. So
yeah, I was surprised. I actually didn't see any lightning on my system, so it really caught me off guard.
Yeah. Well, hey, it was. I love watching from the couch Saturday night football in Ann Arbor. Lindsay was taught as we were driving past basically Ann Arbor. She was like, you haven't been to a Michigan game in a long time. And I go, I know. And at Ann Arbor. I mean, I've been there.
Right.
I went to the Big Ten championship game, which was awesome. But anyways,
Yeah.
I have no desire at almost 40 years, and this just shows my age. I have no desire at almost 40 years old to go and deal with 115,000 people and coming home. Like, it's just not worth the aggravation of sacrificing an entire Saturday. Like, I just.
Yeah, and here I'm thinking about, I miss being there. I miss going up. I miss being in the stadium.
Yes. Well, and if I could airlift myself in and out, I'd be all up. I would be there. I would do it. And honestly, some people say I've got a weird obsession with this. I used to love watching Patriots football when it was snowing. And I love watching a Michigan game I have never been to a snow game, but I would love to go to one. I'll probably curse myself out the entire time sitting there in all 12. I don't even think you get 12. I think it's 8 inches of seating capacity as your spray painted number at Ann Arbor. So, add layers of clothing, add the fact that most people need more than an 8-inch seat spot.
Yes.
I would love to go to a Snowmageddon game, if you will, in Ann Arbor.
I would rather go to a game where it's 28 and snowing than 36 and raining.
Yes. All day, every day.
Yes.
All day, every day. 100% there. All right. Well, did we hijack the show enough there? We got a lot to cover still.
Let's hijack it back to NASCAR.
Yes, let's do that. Okay. So, is it the worst kept secret that Kyle Busch is now driving for RCR?
For this part of the season, yes.
Yes, I would agree. I'll tell you, I had a couple people reach out to me, either through text message, through DM, last week, asked me if I thought, or not so much, people know that I don't have as much insider knowledge as some of these other people do, obviously, but just asked me my thoughts on, did I think this was a possibility? And my initial response, and I'm still surprised, to be honest, I did not think Kyle Busch and RCR was a good fit. Not because of the rival, if you will, or anything like that. I just Kyle Busch has made a shit ton of money, right? So it's while it is always about the money, I don't think it was as about the money kind of thing. And we don't know how much or what that piece of it looks like. But Kyle Busch wants to go win championships, break records, and have people talking about him, which if you're as competitive, I'm not saying that as a knock by any means. So I just don't see RCR being able to turn around next season and being able to go compete for the wins like Kyle Busch is used to going out and competing for. So from that regard, I am surprised that he is with RCR.
But here's the thing, and but you have both right now. You have both RCR drivers in the playoffs.
Yes. Yes. Tyler Reddick. Yes. Tyler Reddick is, if not for Tyler Reddick, and I've been saying this for years, that Tyler Reddick was somebody that RCR could rebuild around. You add some right pieces. Tyler Reddick's on his way out. Now, I'm not knocking the fact that Austin Dillon, yes, he's in.
He's a good super speedway racer who did what he needed to do that day.
Yes, and he's looking like he could very well make it into the next round, and if he goes to Talladega, it is not outside of the realm of possibility. I get that, but
so they're putting out better equipment than RFK.
Yes. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, you could say they're probably on par with Trackhouse.
Yes. So
if you take Trackhouse as not being a kind of one-off that flash in the pan.
Right. Well, and so that's the thing from a competitive team perspective, right? So if it's not Joe Gibbs Racing, there obviously wasn't a spot at HMS. So
right.
your viable competition here really is RCR, SHR, which I would love to know if there was a serious conversation or not had there, because I mean, that's where, he would have been surrounded by veterans. He would have been surrounded, championship, I mean, there were things there that might have been the shot in the arm that could have given SHR as a whole to start getting back to SHR dominance, if you will. But I
wonder if go ahead, finish. Now I got an I wonder for you.
I was gonna say, I mean, to me, the team the up and coming team that, in my opinion, you take Kyle Busch out of the equation, in terms of, apples to apples right now, who do I think would have more wins over the next 5 years is Kaulig Racing. You've got AJ Allmendinger. They're developing their road courses. They've obviously demonstrated the ability to build correctly in the Xfinity Series. It looks like, obviously, from a very uneducated eye, that they're doing things the right way with their Cup team. Like, to me, that would have been hey, I went and helped even take this team to the next step. And again, hey, I could be dead wrong.
But that's not where he is in his career. He wants – so you're really – to me, I wouldn't have even thought about calling for him. I think the SHR issue, maybe they considered him before Almirola came back.
Yes.
So maybe if Almirola stayed retired, you might have seen him in the 10 or some other number.
Sure.
But I think that may have thrown a wrench in the plans. I think Trackhouse would have been a much better fit for him if they wanted to go to a third car.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure how culturally the thought of Justin Marks, Ty Norris, and Kyle Busch, along with then you throw Chastain into the equation.
Right.
I don't see that being a good cultural fit. So, and for me, where's Reddick going to be next year? Not in the 8.
No. Well,
you've already taken his crew chief away from me.
Yeah.
And if what I read was correct, Richard got his little bit of tweak back at Tyler by telling him an hour before the press conference with Kyle that he wasn't going to be driving the 8 next year. So I wonder if they're going to shuffle him off to a satellite team. Keep him sidelines, or we'll honor your contract, but you're not going to race.
Wow, it sounded like the potential is there if 2311 wants to buy out and get him next year. That'd be a possibility. So
that'd be interesting.
Yes, which I mean, hey, either. I mean, that would just be a struggle of a season next year, right? Like, obviously from the PR side of things, you're going to go, hey, we're out here to win, right? I get that. But just from the team side of things like that,
he's not going to be in the competition, right? That he's not going to be in the competition meetings.
Right.
That's actually a good option if they can sell him. And then you presume Kurt doesn't come back.
Which would be a shame. I hope he can come. I hope he can get a redemption tour, if you will. He's obviously earned it within this sport.
Right.
So I hope he can come back and do something if he wants to, obviously.
And then Ty drives 19 or the 18 or whatever number you want to put him in.
I mean, I think that's an inevitability there. That's where that spot's going. But again, I can also tell myself, well, when what Kyle Busch wants to do, to go back and maybe set some final records, from a senior perspective that are still within the realm of possibility, depending on, I didn't see, is there a length to this contract? Did they mention anything about that?
I want to say it was through 25.
Okay. And that's the thing, how quickly can they turn around? Because, Tyler Reddick's done incredible things with that team and have helped that organization get back to at least competing for top 10s, top 5s. Has that been enough to where Kyle Busch is going to be able to go and be competitive week in and week out, in 2023 in that car? And I guess that's just where I have a hard time. Like, to me, invest the resources for that?
if I have, okay, let's flip it around. If I have Kyle Busch in the 8th this season, do you think he does better or worse than Reddick?
Better, but that's strictly driver and
that's all I'm asking about.
Yeah, yes.
That's all I'm asking about. So you would have somebody else who's in the playoffs.
Yes. Yep.
And where is he now at Joe Gibbs? And he's in the drop zone.
He's on the bubble. Yeah. Oh, look at you. You just made me eat my own damn words there. I love it. All right. I guess if nothing else, this has created must-see TV. Has it? I mean, and must-see get to the track. Like, I mean, what else could you ask for?
And I cannot think of a better cutoff race than Bristol.
I mean, Kyle Busch, is the first driver ever to be able to go in and sweep a truck, Xfinity, and Cup race happened at Bristol. Like, I mean, Kyle Busch has got to be walking on cloud nine. I mean, he's probably as relaxed as he's ever been. And I mean, I don't know if you watch some of like the media clips or anything like that. I mean, he was joking. I mean, Kyle Busch was a different Kyle Busch in the media from a media perspective today.
It has to be just such a load off of his mind.
Yes.
It really does.
Yes.
And that he can finally come out, say it. It's a done deal. I read that some sponsors are going to follow him over.
So
I read that.
I'm curious from that regard, like from a primary sponsor, like that's what's going to be interesting there, I think.
Yeah, it depends again what's going to happen with Reddick.
Yep.
If these were all team secured sponsorships, they'll stay and but they'll also have input as to say, I'll go with guaranteed rate.
Yeah.
Guaranteed rate will have a say. I want Kyle Busch doing our advertisements, doing this, or keep it on here. Or we have a contract, maybe we would go with Austin.
Wow.
And they can move the money around.
It's the mortgage industry, which sucks right now. Guaranteed rate might maybe pull their $30 million out because of
well, I also don't think it's a $30 million deal because what they're on maybe 6 races, 8 races.
Yeah.
I'll call it 2.5 to 3.
Yes. No, I'm with you.
Yeah, but it's and that's the other thing that makes me wonder. And having been in this industry and still not sure, do people see? And I would think, there's the numbers say yes. I watch a race, I see guaranteed rate on a car, and I happen to like Tyler Reddick, or even being a fan of the sport, I'm thinking about buying a house.
Yep, you want to support. Yep. I will tell you that I listened to a local Detroit podcast that used to be on the radio for 30 years, and I called one of their sponsors today because my auto insurance renews in October. And I'm like, well, hey, what better time to go and see if I can't get a new quote, So, there is casual loyalty from a fan perspective, probably not. But, if you are a diehard to anything, that you want to see something succeed, I can totally see, that type of advertise or that type of sponsor works. That is a direct consumer product, right?
Right.
Some of these other non-direct consumer products, I can definitely see where the challenge is there, but direct consumer product, I can definitely see that. No doubt about it.
Yeah, so that's where we're going to be. And, M&M Mars just got tired right now. I'll call it a $25 million check. I don't know the numbers, but I know that was the range.
Right. Well, I think Lowe's towards the end of their deal were right and close to 40, if not more,
Yeah.
So, that's a rough one to write. That's a tough pill to swallow. And that's where I think at some point in time, NASCAR as a whole is going to have to reevaluate, because at some point, once, the Hendricks, Joe Gibbs of the world's, either they retire or whatever, like that model is just so outdated. And from
it won't happen.
Nope. You don't think so?
I don't think so. It won't happen because you see the blowback and you see the cap spending right now in Formula One. They're figuring out ways around it, or the back markers just don't spend it and get worse. It's no different than a salary cap in Major League Baseball, where you've got the Nats total salary doesn't equal the starting rotation for the Yankees.
Yeah, I mean that's where Tiger fans are at. But I mean, I just look at it as there's not a, I mean, and I could be wrong, but from a general perspective, from a major league stick and ball sport in the United States, any owner is profitable regardless of your record. And the mere fact that an owner can't walk away profitable from a NASCAR season in general, like whoever is finishing 27th, 28th is probably taking a hit. That's where you would think at some point when you look at 2022 to where you've got 18 winners, spread across how many different owners, that should be a positive trend in a transition in that regard. And I would think at some point something would have to shift a little bit from that regard.
Motorsport stands alone. Yes,
I know.
It is different. It is not like a stick and ball sport.
I know.
Okay, I want to put a period there. But yeah, I mean the TV. They don't. Who gets the TV contract money? Well, I've got to split it between the revenue, the venues, and the teams.
Yep.
So it really becomes sponsorship money, and
all right. So I wonder from that regard, could NASCAR start maybe penalizing tracks that aren't able to either generate the TV viewership or the gate in that regard to help distribute it more towards the teams?
Well, there's one ultimate punishment, Kentucky Speedway.
Right.
We don't race there anymore.
Texas.
That's the ultimate punishment. Texas had a race taken away, Chicagoland, and now the slap in the face is really, we're going to race downtown.
Yeah, right. Yep. Crazy. Well, all right, let's shift for a minute over to the Xfinity Series where it was announced today Jeremy Clements won his appeal, which I will say, and plug your ears, that's great for that team, single car team, been around in the sport for a long time. I know.
Is this getting on air?
Yes, it is.
Okay, just checking.
So, and this is where it impacts Dr. Aaron Studwell here in that your driver, Landon Castle, part of XO Consulting and all of that, is sitting there on the bubble as it is. And that win now upheld for Jeremy Clements guarantees him that spot in. So now Landon is literally the last spots as we speak, heading into Bristol, last race of the regular season. I talked about it earlier, the fact from a fan perspective, we finally have a bubble that we didn't, prior to Jeremy Clements, we didn't have a bubble. Now we have a bubble going into Bristol. He's got, just shy of a 20-point cushion, By all accounts, I don't want to jinx him by any stretch, but I would like to think that Landon should be able to go out there and take care of business.
I think so too. Again, not jinxing him. 19 points above Ryan Sieg, so they really do truly need to flip. It has to be a 30-point switch around.
Yes.
He just has to. He has to finish in the top 20, which he does have a good track record of doing. Would I like to see him win the race? Yes, I'd love to see him win the race.
But what an incredible season for him. I mean, he came close a couple times. A P2 finish, his best career ever. I'll be honest, at the start of the season, knowing the equipment, we talked about this off air with him and Daniel Hemrick. They're both in race-winning equipment, and both have just struggled outside of AJ Allmendinger. But hey, Daniel Hemrick didn't win a race at all last year until Phoenix and got it done. There's nothing to say that Landon Castle still can't go visit Victory Lane at some point this year.
No, and we've actually seen in the Cup Series two. I'll call them, they're not playoff drivers. I won't call them unheralded, but they were surprise winners. And
Absolutely.
So there's nothing saying you won't have surprise winners here as well. I think it's just why it's going to make it for must-see TV, like you said earlier with the Cup race, and the Xfinity race is going to be the same. And I need to step up my fantasy racing game, though.
Oh, dude, it is close in lap traffic fantasy. Like nobody. I mean, the top 4 or 5 are safe, but that is about it. I mean, there is. Let's see here. Let me scroll past a few pages in the notes here. Henry Fletcher 4th, 233. And David James in 10th, 223. 10 points there. I'm 3 points back there. I mean, it is not out. I mean, this weekend was interesting. Everybody, for the most part, took Ty Gibbs in the Cup Series. And I'm curious, only a handful of submitted picks already. So I am very curious to see what happens from a pick perspective. Does everybody start reaching now that we're into the last race, like of the first round? I mean, I'm nervous. I'm in 11th, 6 points to the good. I've never made it past the first round. Like I want nothing more than to make it at least one more round. But I mean, I'm nervous on my picks. We'll see what happens.
We will see what happens.
We'll see what happens. All right. Last thing, man. Some exciting news from you at XO Consulting. Some new hires. Business is growing, which is awesome. I'm so happy for you. New clients, all that good stuff. What do you want to talk about there, man?
Oh, I think the biggest thing for us is we've just signed. I shouldn't say just. Within the last couple of weeks, we signed our first female driver.
Awesome.
Heather Hadley.
Okay.
She's going to be. She is driving late models right now, and she's moving. She's made a decision in her career. She wants to focus on her sports car career and will be racing in the Mazda MX-5 series next year, along with 2 other of my clients, Sam Paley and Matthew Dirks. And as long as I also do sponsorship development for, I should say we also do sponsorship development for Macomb McAleer Racing. That would be the former and wishes to be, once again, NASCAR driver Chad McCumbee.
Awesome. Well, let's get her. You want to get her on? Let's get her on the show.
Yeah, I actually mentioned it to her. Let's get her on. Yes.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. Especially, I mean, late model. I mean, that hits home with a lot of the listeners here and all of that. And Sam's been on a couple times. So yeah, let's make that happen, sir.
Sounds really good. And
Cool.
then we've, on the other side, and this is where people are either going to roll the eyes or not off, we've received our agent certification or agent's approval by the U.S. Soccer Federation. We are a a soccer/football agency.
That's very cool.
Thank you. And we represent 6 players and 2 coaches.
Awesome.
And we only have, of all those, only one's an American citizen. We have a Jamaican who lives in Minneapolis, was just playing in Minneapolis, and
That's sweet.
the kid, Chile, he's actually be featured in tomorrow's social media on EC Sports Management. He is from Zambia, moved here when he was 15, and he lives outside of Atlanta now and wants to play. He loves playing soccer. He's played semi-professional, and he's hired us to get him within a professional contract for the upcoming either this season, 2022-23 in Europe, or in the States in 2023.
That's awesome. That is very cool. That's awesome, man. I couldn't be happier for you getting that thing going and developing as it has in such a short period of time is very cool. And it's been fun to be a part and watch you grow with that, from doing weather, from the NASCAR side of things, to getting your PhD and, saying hell with it. I'm going to go do my own thing. It's a hell of a sacrifice, and it is very cool to see that growth, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. And it's just amazing. You bring up race weather, and we'll get to the forecast in a minute. This is our 20th.
We forgot about that. I was literally getting ready to wrap.
I was wondering. When you said one more thing, I was wondering.
Literally getting ready to wrap.
This is our 20th season of doing race weather. In our 20th, or actually technically 19th anniversary is coming up on Friday.
That's awesome, man. Congratulations. That is very cool. That's a hell
never
of an
would have
accomplishment.
I never would have thought. And we're continuing to update the page. We made one little tweak on the Formula One forecast we do. And we went from not on Google's first page for when you type in Formula One weather to number 3.
That's awesome. Okay. All right. I need your people to do that for me when they Google NASCAR podcast, because numbers have been down a little bit. So I need your people to help me.
I will. I actually have to talk to them about or EC Sports Management moving us up. So I'll bring you into the equation as well.
That would be amazing. So I guess 2 more things, because we still have weather to do. And the other thing I was going to say is knowing the fact that Neudorf is on next week, odds are I'll take a break, week off the following. With that in mind, from a Michigan schedule perspective, where will we be at the next time we get together here?
Oh boy. So we're saying another 3-week gap.
Yes, 3 weeks.
Iowa, I think.
Is that
because
Iowa?
I know
what day is that?
I was like, I don't know this stuff.
I'm putting you on the spot.
At least you don't ask me for the forecast for the.
Right.
So I'll tell you, the Maryland game's going to be good. It's going to be a great weather up there.
Are you going to that one?
No, I'm not. Not scheduled to go to any games this season.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's see. So next week. 3 weeks. It is Iowa. Yeah.
Iowa. So we'll be talking going into Iowa. Yes.
Correct.
Yeah, October 1st.
Coming out of the Turtles.
Perfect. Excellent. All right. Well, I look very, very much forward to that one. Okay. Yeah, we're going to Bristol. What's the weather looking like?
I've heard.
Yeah.
All night races, so I'll just go with clear skies.
Beautiful.
You could not dial up any better weather. It's going to allow me to enjoy the races. So clear skies, daytime highs low to mid 80s, light winds, race start low to mid 90s, or sorry, 70s. Boy.
Excellent. All right. Well, I've got nothing Thursday night, so I will be able to tune in full for the truck race. Friday night, we've got a wedding, and nothing Saturday night because I've got a golf outing on Sunday. So I will be dialed in for almost all of race weekend this weekend. So I'm excited about that.
See, I have a whiskey tasting.
Nice.
6 to 8 or 5 to 8. So it is like half mile from here.
Perfect.
If I could walk, except it's across 5 sets of railroad tracks. If I could walk.
Details.
Well, there's a rail strike coming up.
Right.
I'll take my chances.
Yes. Awesome. I love it. Well, man, this was fun. This was great. We covered a lot of ground. Appreciate you as always, Lap Traffic Nation. Make sure you follow Aaron on Twitter at RaceWeather, along with Brian Neudorf at NASCAR_WXMAN. Sir, great to talk to you. We will catch you in a couple weeks, sir.
Thank you, sir. Another amazing segment.
Appreciate
Thanks for having me on. And
course.
thank you, real quick.
Yes.
Thank you for your support for the company, and thank you for your friendship through all these years.
Always, brother. Always. All right. We'll catch you soon.
You will.
See ya.
Cheers.
All right. Great to catch up with Aaron Studwell, get a little weather, a little NASCAR, and of course, some Michigan football. So there you have it. Let's get to this week's Lucky Dog Lap Down picks. My Lucky Dog race weekend, Bubba Wallace. Lap down, Kevin Harvick. 2 no-brainers, in my opinion, there. All right, let's get to your tweeted responses. Scott at 1985 Wagner's Lucky Dog, Bubba Wallace finally got his win. A lap down, Kevin Harvick, from 2 in a row winner to 2 in a row bottom place holder. I love it. I'm with you there 100%. Brian at Storm and B, Lucky Dog, Bubba. So happy for him. A lap down. So many playoff drivers with issues. Yes, there were issues on the track, on pit road, no doubt about it. Brandon at Brandon K. Carl, no surprise here. Lucky Dog goes to Bubba Wallace. He finally gets the real win that all the haters were trying to keep against him. I totally get where you're coming from with that. My lap down goes to Kevin Harvick. Man, I legitimately feel bad for him, and I never thought I'd say that, LMAO. I love it, Brandon. That's great. Colin at Colin_with_cars. Lucky Dog, Bubba Wallace playing spoiler to the playoffs and being the 18th winner. A lap down to engine number 4. His bad luck continued today. Must win at Bristol. Yes, I'm telling you. What does that say? That we got two spoiler winners here, basically, to kick off the playoffs. That's just so strong. I was talking about that earlier. I just think that's remarkable. Jay Isaac Sr. at Isaac SJ63. Lucky Dog, a race not delayed by rain. Lap down Goodyear tires for not figuring out a tire compound that keeps tires from blowing. Matt at Camper News Net, Lucky Dog, Bubba Wallace and becoming the 18th different winner this season. Lap down, Kevin Harvick having a really good end of the regular season and having to win his way into the round of 12 at Bristol next week. And last but not least, WF Professor at Ryan_Hammond3, Lucky Dog, the 45 car sweeping Kansas 2022 with two different drivers. Bubba Wallace winning in both the 23 XI cars. Lap down 2 weeks in a row with a bunch of playoff drivers having issues. Silver lining is that no one is going out into Bristol. I love it. All right. A little condensed Lucky Dogs this week. Nothing wrong with that. I'm sure next week with Bristol will definitely bring out some interesting picks without a shadow of a doubt. All right, let's wrap this thing up with a little lap traffic fantasy. Just a reminder to the lap traffic fantasy players, if you're in the playoffs, get your picks in by 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on Thursday. And don't forget, we got a truck race Thursday night, so get those picks in early. Keep the Twitter interaction up using hashtag LTFantasy. We got 8 more races to go to determine it all, but after this week, it's a cutoff race. We're dropping 4, and who are we going to drop is the question. This past week, just about everybody had Ty Gibbs in the Xfinity Series, and it was between John Hunter and Zane Smith. Where ground was picked up was in the Cup Series a little bit. We had some people that struck out. That's for sure. I had Alex Bowman, kind of went safe there, and I did okay. So with that said, where are we at standing-wise? Well, Justin Hughes is in first with 264. Michael over at the Blind Spot Podcast is in second with 251. Brett Morris in third with 242. Henry Fletcher in fourth with 233. John Etwinsel in fifth with 231. Kevin Hahn in sixth with 230. Kim James in seventh, 229. Josh Rolfe, eighth, 228. See what's happening there? You see how close this is? Kristen Haugland in ninth with 224. Kristen went from leading almost the entire season, sitting ninth right now. David James in 10th with 223. Yours truly in 11th at 220. Michael Mason in 12th, 214. Robert Riggs, 13, 203. Aaron Studwell in 14th with 197. Steven at DFS NASCAR Guy in 15th with 196. And my uncle wraps it out. He's the Kevin Harvick of the group with 189 in 16th place. So there you have the standings. There could still be a lot of movement with Bristol. So pick wisely, if you will. Unfortunately, no guest this week, wasn't able to line anything up. Our high for the week, John Etwinsel, he is all the way in Australia. So there's that. I just love the fact someone from Australia is playing. So with that said, I am going to get right into my picks for this week as we head to Bristol, the last great Coliseum, for the last race of round one of the playoffs, last race of round one of the Lap Traffic Fantasy, with some drivers in must-win situations. Kyle Busch needs to win. He's won at Bristol many a times. Kevin Harvick needs to win. He's won at Bristol many a times. Chevy's got wins. Toyota has wins. Ford has wins. You know, we ran on the dirt there in the spring, so really, there's no notebook as we head to Bristol for Saturday night playoff racing. It's going to be action-packed. It's going to be drama-filled. It's going to be exciting. Four guys are going home Saturday night. I cannot wait. I'm pumped. I'm jacked. Here are my picks. Truck Series, Zane Smith. Xfinity Series, no surprise, Justin Allgaier, with what I was talking about earlier with Justin in the Xfinity Series. And then I've already taken Kevin Harvick, so I can't take him. So I am going to roll with the 18th of Kyle Busch. Let's do it. All right. There you go. There are my picks. Can't wait to see who you guys take. Can't wait to see who moves on to the next round. Oh, great times. All right, Lap Traffic Nation, that is going to do it for episode 291 of the Lap Traffic Podcast. Make sure you check out the website, thelaptrafficpodcast.com. TikTok, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, all at Lap Traffic PC. Huge thanks to Ben Rhodes, Howie DiSavino, Aaron Studwell for calling in. I'll put something together for next week. I'll be back next week. Don't you worry. Don't get caught chasing the lucky dog. Make sure you tune in each and every week to the Lap Traffic Podcast. See ya!